knew my life could be this way. I never knew the sun could shine all day. Never thought I'd live beyond my past until I found Jesus. I never thought I'd be in this place. Oh, I'm glad, so glad I'm living my life in this place. Ooh, I never knew my heart would feel again. You see, I was so hurt, never knew the pain.
I have introduced the Speaker of the Morning, Councilman Devyn, our City Representative of the Huntsville City.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Now let me give you my favorite bio. Devyn, a mess of a man, but God.
But God.
It is a blessing to be here. To the committee, to everybody, these lovely ladies. I always consider it a blessing to have brunch with such beautiful women. I also want to give recognition to our distinguished City School Board rep. Now this is a plug, I don't get a chance to do it. She will be having a very important town hall Monday at 6 p.m. at the Richard Shower Center. She will be discussing some very important information. Please, please speak to her when you get a chance when this is all over. I will not keep you long. I am not a preacher, as I just told her. I did go to a Baptist church, but I will not call for a benediction. I do not have a sermon. Rather, I really want to give some information. There's two speeches in one. I'm going to tell these young gentlemen what somebody should have told me, and to the parents, what I hope you never forget. I remember not too long ago, it seems like years, as I stand here 28, I'm pretty sure next week, instead of turning 29, I'll be 41. My 4th grade hair has just come in and my other blacks are starting to fall out. I'm sure that's from stress, but it might just be from experience as well. I was at a senior center. We were going door to door, and we stopped by Johnson Towers. And we were having a conversation with a group of individuals. Now, I thought it was just good enough to sit there and know how to reference some old music and know how to have a conversation about old church hymns and what it was like to get old church candy and acting a mess and a fool in the pews and getting pinched. But this one man said, I love everything that you're saying, but some memory just won't let me vote for a man who's younger than my best pair of socks. And I said to myself, now, where do you get a pair of socks like that? But to you young gentlemen, I want to bring this notion to the forefront. It is very important that you understand this. Age is not relational to impact. Actually, this nation has started this argument of forefathers. When you look at Thomas Jefferson, this is an old picture, but much like us, if I was to look at your Facebook profiles, it's the one that you selected that makes you look the youngest and the coolest. If we go back in time, July 4th, 1776, Thomas Jefferson is only 31 years old. Actually, 20 plus individuals who signed the Declaration of Independence are under the age of 31. We look at social revolutions. A man moves from Atlanta. He's a preacher's kid. He went to school. He has all the notoriety to be an Atlanta impact preacher. He goes to a place in Montgomery. Steps out at the age of 26 and starts a revolution. His name is Dr. King. Or maybe you went a little bit closer. He's from Talladega, born in poverty. At that time, he had a mid-stutter. He said, if I can't talk, at least I'll ride. He starts on the Freedom Riders. At the age of 21, his name is John Lewis. I can go on and on. Frederick Douglass is 24. Ida B is 21. The list goes on and on and on. That the impact The people that we look at in February, actually 365 days, seem to be a little young. I actually think we should change the adage. It's not the forefathers, maybe it was the 4 millennials. And that works in 2 ways. That right now, you are at a unique crux of your life. You've been identified, not only by your parents, but by your community, as somebody who can have an impact. I know that feeling. I actually didn't like it when it first came to me, and I ran from it. But I remember an experience I had when I first went to Boston. Now, when I first got there, let me be honest with you, I thought I had it all figured out. $400 in a suitcase, I said that was enough. And as the more seasoned, I ain't gonna say old people in the room, seasoned people in the room will tell you $400 ain't gonna get you nothing north of the Mason-Dixon. So I get there, I'm renting out a room, and life is coming at me fast. I'm waiting on tables, I'm doing security, anything to make it happen. God so aligns my life to offer me the opportunity to get into grad school. I become a graduate assistant. I'm connected to the Kennedy School. I'm working under Senator Moe. And I'm sitting with a guy. And to this day, he's a great friend of mine, but he irks my nerves because he's one of those kids who doesn't realize that having 2 commas every day in his bank account is a comfortable place to be. So he starts talking about experiences, and he says, you know, I never understood why rich people, rich African-American football players, and it perked my mind. First thing they do is buy a house for their mama, buy a car. And I said, more than likely that's because those are things that lady, the important person in their life, didn't experience. He said, well, the first thing I got was a trip to Mount Everest. And I stared. I said, so somebody paid $60,000 for you to go and experience the cold. You could have did that here in Boston. But he said something as he started to unravel that experience that has had a value in my life. And if you don't hear me, hear this right now. You're about to climb a mountain of sorts. A mountain that a lot of people have actually climbed. Now the experience for you is going to be extremely different. And as he starts to spell out the trip to Mount Everest, he ain't preaching, but he started preaching. He says, first, Devyn, they told me once I got my package, you gotta give it a year. So, if you understand Mount Everest, take the Empire State Building and do it 20 times. That's Mount Everest. You can imagine the cardio that's involved. So, they sent him a regimen. For a year, he practiced and prepped and walked and trained every single day. You see, for me, I saw my Mount Everest. I didn't know it was at the peak, but I knew I at least wanted to have an opportunity to make a little bit of money, drive a nice car, see the world, have a couple girlfriends, and take care. I've changed. And take care of my mother. That was my Mount Everest. But the practicality in it is that I needed to train. From here on out, every single day offers the opportunity to get better. He said, from then on, Devyn, when I got to that year mark, I had to get fitted for my gear. You see, I never asked in what mechanism, what way would I take care of my family, drive that nice car. Your grades is a way of training. Your social output, being involved in nonprofits and doing good things is a way of training as well. But what mechanism will you change this world? Will you change your family's situation? What mechanism will you use? Will you be a lawyer? Will you be a doctor? Will you be, actually don't do it, but will you be a city councilman? You have to figure those things out and get it tailor fit to who you are as a person. Because I remember, I'm not too far removed from your age where inside there are things that you think that are different than your friends. You haven't shared it with them. You see things differently. You hear conversations and they touch something inside of you. You're convicted when you see a homeless person. You're passionate about seeing your friends who can't pass the same grades that you can. Something inside of you right now is pulling you. Hold on to that. You're going to need to have something that makes you tailor-fitted to that feeling. For me, it was my community. And the need and necessity for us to have the same growth and quality of life that other parts of the city of Huntsville had. But he goes on, and it gets sort of deep. He says, so I finally get there. I've arrived. I've gone through my training. I've gotten my perfect gear. It's about 30 pounds, and I'm there at base camp, and it's cold. Nothing can get you ready for the cold that you first feel when you hit the base camp at Everest. And this is what I want you to hear. This dinner, your family, your parents will probably tell you. Once you leave the hallowed halls of education or wherever you are, nothing can really get you ready for the real world. It's going to hit you in a way that you never expected. For the first time, you might experience racism. For the first time, you might experience somebody being promoted who doesn't have the same qualities as you. A professor who doesn't give you the time of day. But that's okay. Because what comes next is so important. He says at the base camp, you meet your tour guide, and that is the person that they pay through the corporation that you paid to come on this trip. But he said, it was beautiful because guess what? The tour guide had a tour guide. They're called Sherpas. And they are native to Nepal, and they live and have lived for generations at 100,000 feet. And they actually teach the tour guides what they're teaching you. He said the Sherpas know how to breathe at that level. They know what food is best for your blood to circulate, which is extremely important. They know how long one must rest. That, if you really think about it, it's 68 days from the base to the top. But if you were to just keep marching every single day, it'd only be 20. That it's important to take days off and understand that you got to learn some things while in the environment. Those Sherpa people are sitting at your table right now. They've been through some stuff. They know what it's like to be at 100,000 feet. They're going to know what it's like when you call back home one day and say, Dad, I just can't get over this. And you say, Mom, I'm having this problem. There's a value to your community. Because I'm going to tell you, I was in Bell Detention Center in Birmingham in 2010, and I saw a young man. His name was Jamil, and he did not have anybody at his table. And the value that comes with the opportunity to at least have somebody at your table can never, ever, ever be valued. Because you never know what experiences those individuals have gone through that will save your life. So the Sherpas then train the tour guides. The tour guides more than likely are there because they're the only person that speaks your language. And that's really important. So he tells me, we get there, we're at the base camp D, we're moving on up. I make my first trek, I'm so excited. It feels so good. He says, once you get to the second base camp, there's 4 all the way up to the Mount Everest, he says, it got tough. He said, I started feeling like, okay, I've done enough. I made it farther than I probably would have ever expected, but now it's really rough. It's called the no oxygen zone, the dead man zone. He said, you can't train for it. You can't get ready for what it's like to not have enough air to breathe. And I want to tell you right now, I don't care how good your life is. I don't care how wonderful your grades are. I don't care how pretty your girlfriend is and how many likes you have on Instagram and Facebook. Life has a way of putting you in a tough zone. And it usually comes after so much success. I know that feeling. And though I can't prepare you for it, what he says next has such a value. He said, I look down and the Sherpa tells the tour guide, and the tour guide tells us, hey, no worries. If you look ahead of us, you'll see the footsteps of the group that went before us. So remember, when you get to that second stage, when life is tough, people have done this before. People have gone to the top of Mount Everest. It starts in 1953. Ever since then, because of the increase in technology, the awareness to the environment, over 5,000 people have climbed to the top. He says, I make it another 2. He says, this is the toughest part, B. Right when I get to the last part, it gets scary. Because along the way, and you can look it up, about 200 plus people are bodies. They are on the wayside of the walk. Now that's morbid. We think that's sad. And if you knew Josh, you would know his surfer mentality. I was like, wow, I made it farther. And it sounds uncomfortable as you think about it. There's going to be places in your life that you'll make it that others can't. And the importance of understanding that is not that somebody has passed, but maybe you're called to go to the higher level. And I didn't understand that myself. That there are certain levels that we're all able to reach. And you have to be confident that you are the person that's going to reach the summit, no matter what. Because you have the right training, you have the right gear, and you're following the right wisdom. In a lot of ways, I want to pivot that not only to the youth in the room, but to the parents. I was just in a situation, as many of you know, I live in Terry Heights, one of those shotgun houses that if you open the front door, you've just walked out the back door. But it is a blessing of an experience as I finish my first year. And I'm discussing an incident that happened. And this lady says to me, who moved into the district to put her kid in sunny Hereford. She says, I don't want any of this for my kid. I lived all of this. I don't want nothing like this. I said, that makes sense. And I said, what do you do? And she goes down this long list of the things that are her successes. And she says, I'm raising my daughter to see things differently, experience different things. And then she tells all the things that she overcame. To the parents in the room, catch the value of that. She's saying the things that made her is her ability to come over tough times. She doesn't want any tough times for her kids. And I've learned, not necessarily that you don't want your kids to not have the things you didn't have, but the things that made you were the ability to get over them. I sort of akin it, I'm a big movie fan. I remember early on, some of y'all, all of y'all are probably too young to know about Rocky II, but anyway, Rocky's out there training, and Mick comes with this, that voice, Rocky, you need to do this. And he says it just slow, Rocky. He's known as a bruiser. And he says, I got a way that we're going to get you demon speed, we're going to get those feet moving. And that iconic moment, he brings out the chicken. And everybody, for the first time you watch it, like, what in the world? But then slowly but surely, we see how difficult it is for Rocky to catch a chicken. Eventually, Rocky catches that chicken. And that old wisdom increases his foot speed. And as we go from Rocky II to Rocky III, we see him using new, innovative ways to either get faster or get stronger. At one point, he's fighting Drago, he's picking up logs, walking through the snow. Other points, he's running in the sand. But there's always a new, innovative way to do the same thing, to teach the same lesson. For those of you who've seen the most recent one, which was Creed, Rocky pulls out a chicken. And so famously in the movie, as you think he's about to struggle, Michael B. Jordan grabs the chicken. And then Rocky says, I guess people have gotten faster. But for the parents in the room, you have learned lessons that I won't have to. You know what it's like to not have the opportunity to shop at certain places. I do not. But I need to know that lesson of what it's like to not only fight for faith, but to fight for freedom. These kids in these rooms, you need to have the conversation and teach a lesson in a new way about what it is to see this political view of this nation. That the nation you experience in a new way might be repeating themselves and the expectations they should have when they leave your home. If you are not teaching your children the lessons you learn in a new way, you are doing them a disservice. And I see it all too often. It is okay to give them a bigger house with their own room, with a big TV. That's the blessing. But it's even more important to show them what it took to get there. That's appreciation. These lessons have value that will supersede us telling them that they are successful. And that word is something we do not use often, and that's significance. And back to you, young gentlemen. That's the word I want to end with. Significance. For I cannot tell you who was the richest man in 1968, but I can tell you a man by the name of King lost his life, and because of that we have a holiday. I cannot tell you that my third grade teacher has a plaque on the wall at my elementary school, but I can tell you if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I'd be standing in front of you. I cannot tell you of all of the significant people in my life, but I can say that those significant people made me successful. Work towards significance, and the success will come. You more than likely have a view of what you will be in 10 years. And as I said, as gray hairs set in, that view will probably change. But the tools, the training, the tailor-fit outfit, having the right tour guides, and the tour guides having the right tour guides, you will reach that summit. My friend Josh shows me this iconic photo of him and his group having reached the summit of Mount Everest at the age, I think, of about 25. And as I think it's very unique, as I think that it's unbelievable, he says to me, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. That there are certain people on that tour guide that have been there 2 to 3 times. Well, I want to say that to you all. You have an opportunity to climb a mountain, to set out footsteps that can be followed. So that seeing successful African American men is not a rarity. That this becomes the expectation. That it becomes the norm. That your example is what somebody else will use as their platform, perspective, the direction that they will follow. I stand before you a product of so many people who were that example. And none of them were politicians. They were just people who identified opportunities to pour into what I am, and that is a sponge. So to the parents, I say congratulations. Don't let this just be the moment for your kids that you interact. Have conversations that are uncomfortable. Relate the stories and experiences that you had in a very new and innovative way so that they learn the lessons that made you who you are. And to the kids, you will not make it anywhere without absorbing some sense of wisdom, resource, and support. But fighting for that level of significance will lead to the success that you see for yourself.